Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Griggs, coming to you on the Ides of November with a warning to remember. This is the 15th of November, 21. Time on deck is 204900 hours Central Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to light, and some of us have known about this for a little while, but is now out in the public that there's yet another means to take out our power grid. Another means which could be commonly available. It is through the use of drones. Yes, drones, which are so ubiquitous in our society today, can be used to take out our power grid. And when we have so many people that are not friendly to us and so many potential sleeper cells right here in the United States, when terrorists are streaming across our southern border, and that's also been verified by the State Department, then we may be in trouble. We may have some severe things to be concerned about because, my friends, if the power grid goes down, the EMP Congressional Task Force had estimated sometime back that absolutely 9 out of 10 people could be gone within a year through societal collapse, starvation, disease. I had informed the people who are involved in that study that that was an optimistic estimate. It could be far worse when you factor in, forget the nuclear reactors. Everybody worries about them. Yeah, they're really bad. But the spent fuel rod pools, the fuel rod storage pools, which also have hot rods in them, not cars, are not in the containment building, and they have more radioactive material, and they only got 20 feet of water on them, which evaporates at 160 gallons a minute. And when the backup generator fuel goes out and those things get exposed to the air, the circuloid clad on those fuel rods catch fire. And I got the proof, and I've shown it previously in my videos from Sandia National Laboratory test. Yes, they do burn on contact with air. I've had some people dispute that. I've got the test reports, and there are numerous ones that show that conclusively. So, my friends, we could be in grave danger from drone attacks, in addition to direct ballistic attacks on the power grid. I'm going to get all into this. So, guys, I'll bring you this as part of my eyes wide open and head on a swivel series of videos so that you will know to be aware and to prepare for what may come. But also, some of us try to be active. I'm involved in 2 national power grid defense organizations, and I have chaired 2 power grid defense conferences because I would like to fix this, but the industry's dragging its feet, and it's almost insane that they're doing this. It seems like malfeasance, criminal negligence, practically, how much they drag their feet on doing what they ought to do to protect our nation when this infrastructure is so critical. It is our Achilles heel, my friends. Without power, all the other critical subsystems, well, none of them work either. Communications, pumping water, pumping fuel, they all require electricity. And oh yeah, the backup generators require pumps to pump the fuel to get to them. The trucks that deliver stuff require fuel pump by electricity. A working supply chain, which we already see strained and snapping. Just imagine if the electric grid goes out cracking. So we'll be in grave danger. Everybody, including the preppers, are way out in the mountains with scads of fences and moats and all kind of defense forces. Yeah, the radiation might still get to you. We've got to get our grid fixed, but you need to prep. And that's part of what this is about. You need to prep, but you also need to work with us to get the grid fixed. I'll bring maybe some other guys on here real soon talking about things you can do to prep for the grid. But let's talk today about drones and what they can do and other things that may take out our power grid. It just so happens that a recent event in Pennsylvania had a drone that went down top of a building near an electrical substation, and it was flying with 2 ropes with a big conductor between them. Had it made contact between the positive and negative power lines, it could cause an arc, a short circuit, which could have taken out the substation, at least fried a transformer. And like I said, these big transformers, the really big high power step up and step down transformers that send power across this nation, are up to 200 to 400 tons, as big as a house. It takes 18 months to replace them once they're on the to get them to the loading dock after you order them. But to order them, to transport them, to put them in place, you got to have infrastructure. You got to have a working supply chain. Without the power grid, there is no supply chain. And if it's 18 months, that's a year and a half after most of the people are already decimated. Who's going to put it in? Who's going to install it? How's it going to happen? How's it going to work? This is Humpty Dumpty, my friends. It's Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall, and the way to fix it is not clear. Bear that in mind. The way to fix it is not clear. And, oh yeah, but there's many other ways to take up power grid. I mentioned those things such as high altitude EMP. I've talked about things such as, and I've got the videos on these, and I've covered this many times. I've talked about, high altitude nuclear explosion, EMP. We talked about direct ballistic attacks, like apparently a dry run was done in the Metcalf substation near San Jose, where somebody went in with AK-47s and banged the place up, and then policed up their brass and got out before anybody found out who it was. Not only that, but they hit the power station twice. Because one time they just went in and take out, they hardened it, thought they had it hardened, some little bitty things. They went and hit it again just for fun or and giggles, right? So, yeah, their little fixes were nothing. It was the NERC and FERC fixes, which amounted to paper and stickses. So it's nothing. So our grid is at peril. And, there are many other ways to take it out. The sun will take out our grid ultimately if we do nothing. And you know what? Somebody that knows a little bit about the grid and has maybe 9 little teams out there could probably take your whole country down with just these alone. Not a good situation. Yeah, I know how to do it, but if I know how to do it, so does a lot of other people. So I'm not putting anything out there that is not known by the people who've been studying ways to take us down for some time. Now, this is why you need to prepare. First, subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification, and click all. Bang the bell. Click all. And I have a special right now. You can get $100 off of a 3-month supply of food that lasts 25 years. And with the grid down, you might need this to keep your family and friends fed. So 25 years is good stuff. And if you got to bug out, this stuff is lightweight. It's easy to bug out because it's in a good durable bucket. It's also easy to put in caches at bug out places and points of travel along the way. So you'll have supplies along the way wherever you're going. If you got to bug out in the woods, you need it. Plus also, these nice little pouches are great to put in a backpack. If you have to go maneuvers bugging out, you have to get out, you can do it. And your kids can carry these things. Unlike the competitors who get these big containers that they shoving across the threshold, these are easy to handle. They're easy to manage. And all you got to do is reconstitute them with water. They are freeze dried, but it reconstitutes into real food, not mushy stuff. That's a good thing. 2,000 calories a day. That's better than what the competition offers, which is typically like 800 calories a day. Go to prepwithgreg.com to find it. Prepwithgreg.com. All righty. Get your dry beans. Watch my videos and eating free from the weeds and the trees. But you're still going to need the carbs. You're still going to need the protein. And this is a good way to get it. And I also have, if you go into my Patriot Supply, once you check out this special, you'll find all kind of other specials for gluten-free, for vegans, for low carb, for meat eaters, veggies. You can find stuff in number 10 cans if you want to keep them at your bug out location. Lots of stuff. All right, enough said about that. Let's go into this some more. So I'm going to show you some articles real fast here. And ding, 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 ding. We will do the share screen. And we're going to go over here to some articles here. And this one is written by my dear friend who has been on this channel many times and also came to both of my Power Grid Defense conferences. And also I brought him to Montgomery to speak to special aid for the governor and the head of the Public Services Commission in Alabama and the head person of the Emergency Management Association of Alabama, Dr. Peter Vincent Price. And I've had him on this channel several times. I'll probably bring him back on to talk about this specific topic. And he's talking about his new book, Blackout Warfare. This is an earlier book. He had Blackout Wars, talking about power grid defense, my friends, and the things that we got to do for it. And I am part of his task force on national and homeland security. I am his Alabama state director. I'm also in a group called Secure the Grid. Okay, enough said about that. So he's talking about his new book here, Blackout Wars. And he warns that drones or unmanned aerial vehicles can be used to attack the national power grid. Now we know that. But it turns out that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security recently put out a memo talking about this event back in July of 2020. A failed attack on the Pennsylvania electrical power grid near, actually near the Hershey chocolate plant. So, as I said earlier, this thing was trailing a conductor wire. Well, there are more sophisticated ways that this could be done. And of course, as it happened in the Metcalf station, they don't know who the perpetrator was. The perpetrator has not been identified. You know, where's our good buddy from Hawaii 5-0 that could crack all these cases and say, book them, Dano? Jack Lord, right? All right, so a similar attack using a small manned plane blacked out Canada's Hydro-Quebec grid in 2014. Did you know that? According to the Washington Post. Yeah. And so they were hit by a crippling blackout at the start of the winter, the worst time of all, right? The traffic light went dark and 118,000 customers lost power, by including McGill's University Health Center. So this is critical infrastructure losing power in a very critical time. And of course, that was probably just really a test exercise to see what they could do. And that time they used a manned aircraft. So imagine what they could do with UAVs. And here we're talking about, you know, in 2020, as you might remember, and I reported on the war between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Well, Armenia was defeated by drones. Oh yeah, I did a video on drone warfare. I'll show you that in a little bit, guys. Drones went in and defeated tanks and other kind of vehicles. And see, this was just inconceivable, as he said here not that long before. Now, what he points out here is there's these devices called non-nuclear EMP weapons. Basically, they're microwave weapons that can cause an electromagnetic pulse that can wipe out equipment for a city block or so. And these could be put as warheads on a drone and maybe made to, you know, put their pulse out multiple times. So what he's talking about here is they could follow power lines and just go to each substation, put the pulse out and go to the next and find the next substation, put the pulse out, making them multiple use devices. Now, this would be larger drones, but you'd have to have a good power source for that. But, you know, drones dragging wires, drones doing this. There's many ways the grid could be attacked. What do we need? We need a hardened grid. We need a grid that also has some reserve capability built into it. And there's quite a few things that we need to prevent stuff like this from happening. And it could work, and it's actually pretty affordable if we get busy taking care of our grid. He says here, relatively small number of non-nuclear EMP drones or UAVs. UAVs are bigger than drones. Perhaps only capable of protracted flight could inflict long national blackout. And he refers to a Wall Street Journal report on this and a classified, which, you know, the U.S. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission disabled. Oh yeah, the report, what he said, just 9 of the 2,000 U.S. Transformers, the electrical high voltage ones, could take out our entire grid by causing cascading failures, which would crash the entire North American grid. I mentioned that before, just 9 critical substations. So this is a report from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC actually come out with that. FERC admitted it. And as I've reported in the past, when the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard was told this, he says, I've already got 20 of them targeted with my sleeper cells in North America. So wow, yeah, that's what he said, 20. So guys, we could be in for trouble if we get into it with Iran. Iran could take down our grid, a nation like Iran, without even using their satellite capabilities or missile capabilities, the nuclear weapons are developing. But we know I've also just talked how that could be done off the shore of Venezuela or out of a back of a cargo ship, like the Changchun, which was steaming around with 2 missile launchers erected in it back in 2013. So guys, we are at risk here. So for example, U.S. company sells one U.S. company sells non-nuclear EMP devices for legitimate industrial purposes called an EMP suitcase. It looks like a suitcase, can be carried by and operated by one person, generates 100,000 volts per meter over a short distance. And the national hardening standards was 50,000 volts per meter. the EMP super weapons for high altitude electromagnetic pulse that the Soviets disclosed to us were capable of putting out 200,000 volts per meter. Guys, we are talking some serious stuff here. Dollar store version of weapons of mass destruction. Oh, that's funny, Peter. Dollar store version. Well, that's really what we're talking about. You know, what we're saying here is that these could be widely available and could cause absolute mass destruction. The German version EMP suitcase weighed only 62 pounds, and that's a weight easily deliverable by a drone or a UAV. So, guys, this is what we're talking about. There's a lot of stuff. I'm going to read this whole article. I'm just picking from it because I don't want to read an entire article on here to you. I'm just showing you what it's here. And they're talking about, Bowen's Champ, that was one that some people are aware of, which was an EMP weapon that was developed by Bowen for frying electronics. And he also talks in here, let's see, these pretzel engines. There's, we had drones that dropped, actually Tomahawk missiles actually dropped chaff on a rock in a smaller bit. But we also took out a lot of the power grid, I believe it was Serbia, with devices like this, just dropping wire filaments, guys, just wire filaments. So I'll show you some more on that in a minute. I'm going to just buzz through here. I'm not going to show you everything. Here's one of those terrible websites that takes almost all my memory because it's got too many googly ads and pictures in it. But probably British. They're bad about this kind of stuff. New intelligence report reveals likely drone attack on U.S. grid occurred last year. Now, some of us, like I said, heard of this, but we weren't going to talk about it until it got out here in the public. And now it is. And see, this is released by a joint intelligence bulletin of the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and National Counterterrorism Center. That's part of the CIA, National Counter and Terrorism Center. I don't know if you ever hang on here. Can't remember the name of that book series right now. But used to always feature that. So there were some pictures of it in here, but I think these other, here's the kind of some of the transformers. Those aren't any of the biggest ones, guys. And look, I've covered this topic. If you want to find videos, if you think you remember the name of a video on some channel or a topic you think that might have been covered, go, you usually come up on home, go click videos on a channel, and then go over here to this little looking glass and type in, click this area, because it's not going to work unless you click it, and type in whatever you want to see, and then just hit enter. Bang, drone swarm. Bing. 7 months ago, I did a video on that. Drone swarms, new weapons of mass destruction. Yes. So see how drone swarms can become widely proliferating sets of weapons of mass destruction wielded by far too many. What can you do about it? So check that out, guys. What can you do about it? So these drones can be used in so many ways. And this is my video on that. So go back, it's about 7 months ago. If you're just going to the home and or just click videos and start scrolling down, I think at least when I scroll my channel, it only lets me go back 4 months on my channel. But I can go to other channels and scroll back for years. I guess YouTube just loves me so much. So there you go, guys. This is what you need to know. We need to get ready. You need to prepare, because there's just too many ways to take it out. I mean, holy smoke. I mean, even the old RC airplanes that, didn't have the modern electronics, joysticks control. They just had, little RC control. Some of those were fast. And, somebody could take a blasting cap, a little nipple and a cap for initiation like you'd find on a muzzle loader, and a stick of dynamite and do a lot of damage, guys. Or drag a wire. And, I've got friends who were 20 years ago flying jet versions of these things. Yeah, little miniature jets. I mean, they weren't too miniature, but, and some of these aircraft people fly, like miniature UAVs. Some of them are pretty good size. There are people that fly these aircraft, and some of them are pretty UAVs, personal UAVs. Some of them are big. And a lot of people have these. And so what could people deliver? What could they do? Well, don't think they're not thinking about it, because they already have thought about it, and they've shown that with this little drone. Now, that might have been just a little little low-key test because they didn't want to play their hand too much. But this has been cooking in people's minds. People know what drones are capable of, and you can bet our enemies understand this stuff. I tell you this because, one, I like for us to do something about it to fix it so we're not so reliant on it. I'd also like to see the power grid decentralized. I like to see backup power generation capabilities, nuclear power plants, more than just a diesel fuel generator. Maybe these small portable nukes that they're talking about now, not portable, these small miniature nukes from microgrids should be established at every nuke plant, because a nuke plant don't have the energy to start itself. Believe it or not, black starting a nuke plant requires a coal-fired plant or something like that. So maybe these little smaller nuclear plants might have enough oomph to do it, and also augment the power of the plant itself. So you don't have to expand it, and they're safer. They're much safer than they don't go into meltdown. So they're a whole new design of this stuff coming out, and that would be very good for our communities if we had something like that at the nuclear power plants to safeguard. So there's a lot of things we could push for, and it would also give them a little extra energy and a black start capability, so they'd buy several things all in one fell sweep if they would go down that road. Or maybe there could be a microgrid nearby close enough they could power that plant. Get it started to power those backup fuel pumps, so that when they run out of diesel fuel, we'll be good. Or maybe you can put these around places where we're refining fuels and truck stops and things like that. To kind of keep things going. Maybe the National Guard centers, key infrastructure and EMA community, some places like that, so we can keep the grid going. Oh yeah, especially our military bases. Our military bases run on the local civilian power for the most part. They get very little power generation on site. Actually, Redstone Arsenal has a trash burning power plant on site where they burn municipal waste from Huntsville. That's rare. Fort Greely, Alaska had a nuclear reactor at one time on site. Well, my good friend Ed Kiker, I've mentioned a few times, did a joint video with, actually buried that reactor core. So look at Fort Greely and nuclear reactor. You'll find it out on the internet somewhere on various articles. So let me stop this share. Halo. Should have stopped that a few minutes ago as I'm talking to you about this. So the problem is there's too many ways to take down our power grid, and there's too many people that want to do it. That is something. Look, the Mexican cartels, when they were told they were going to be wiped out when a particularly conservative government took over one of the states in Mexico, they took down the state's power grid and went in and dispatched every member of that government who was opposed to them under the darkness of no power. These opposing forces have used these in wars in the Ukraine and other places already. So beware, my friends. This is possible. Everybody knows about these kind of capabilities who are on the side of wanting to do harm. America is like the king of the hill right now in the world, and everybody wants to knock the king of the hill off the hill. Typically, if you ever played King of the Hill in grade school, we used to play that in No Man Stands. They probably don't allow that anymore because it requires too much testosterone. I think even girls play the class in school. No Man Stands. That means the winner's the last one standing when you knock everybody else down. I was really good at that. But just one kid who ran like a jackrabbit. He bing, 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 bing. He was hard to catch, but I was pretty good at No Man Stands, king of the hill games in school. So anyway, guys, yeah, see my last video on it's a crime to be a man. So there we go, guys. This is serious. We are at grave risk. The industry between NERC and FERC, where the National Electrical Reliability Corporation, which is an association of electrical companies, they got it set up where they have to propose all regulations to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. You got the Fox Garden in-house, but this is a little bit broader than the national bulk power transmission that they govern. We need to take this bit further. We got to get to our state public service commissions and other entities, to our EMA organizations, to the power companies directly to get this done. And it can be done. And part of the key for how to do that was revealed to us by Ambassador Hank Cooper on an old video of mine. So and EMA communities are probably one of the key focuses for how to get that initiated. And he's having success in the Carolinas, North and South Carolina, deep power better than anybody else. So he's got some of the best advice on that. Ambassador Hank Cooper used to be the head of the Strategic Defense Initiative Organization. That's a SDIO poster I got up there, calendar from 1988. When I worked for the Aris Interceptor Reentry Subsystem, Exo-Atmospheric Reentry Interceptor Subsystem, Aris. Project office. The only time I was a government civil servant. So I did work for Star Wars once upon a time, and the head of it was Ambassador Hank Cooper, Pentagon level top official, and he's been on my channel. Who else brings you people like that? Who else brings you people like Dr. Peter Vincent Pry, and many of the other guests I brought in here? But my channel is minuscule compared to channels 10 times bigger than me. They can't get guests like that. So subscribe to my channel, bang the up notification bell, and click all, because and support my channel. You can support my channel by going into the comments, making comments, commenting other people's comments, giving likes to my videos, and likes to good comments that you view meritorious. All this social interaction pumps up the algorithm, has no rhythms. And frankly, my channel seems to be shadow banned now, because when I had a much smaller channel, like 18,000 subscribers, now I got 52,500, I got way more views. So, but I'm putting out critical information that people need to know, people need to be aware of, so share. All right, enough said. Let's get going. Prep, take care of yourself. Check out my bug out videos. Check out my videos on how to eat free from the weeds and trees. You may need that knowledge to survive. And garden. So you can also check out my links to True Leaf Market below, where you can get heirloom seeds that you can plant and get the same kind of plants back. And you can go greens in your own home. Check out my microgreens videos from the supplies at True Leaf Market. All right, my friends, trying to make a difference in the world. So go out and do the same. Try to leave the world a better place than you found it. I think we can do that, but we got to work together. We got to work fast, because this world's run by a bunch of idiots. Anyway, thank you, my friends, for watching. Have an awesome day.